Hi everybody. Today we are looking at the general overall meaning of the Fool card in the tarot. I've got several different samples of Fool cards here in front of me. We're going to talk about some of the differences that you might see in different cards. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do the Fool reversed as a separate video or as the same video. Probably we'll do them all in one. But anyway, we'll figure that out as we go. I'm kind of doing this whole thing sort of off the cuff. I have enough information about meanings of cards that I think I can get away with that. I've only been preparing by reading the cards full time since 2013, so we'll see. Anyway, the Fool card is the first card in the Major Arcana, and the Major Arcana does indicate, a journey that we make through life, starting with as we come out as an infant all the way through the different things that we grow through and go through. So the Major Arcana indicates that whole journey. And so the Fool is the very first Major Arcana card. It is numbered as 0, which also can have to do with infinity. So our journey doesn't really ever end, is the implication there. And there can be other implications too, depending on what you see in a 0. But many of the Fool cards that we use will have 0 on them. Like in this one, you see the 0 on the top. In this one, let's use this one. In this one, you have the 0 on the bottom, right with the name of the Fool. So we're going to start with, well, let me just say too that these are just basic overall general meanings, and these are meanings per Amista, per me. So these are things that I have seen with the Fool card and things that I do see in the Fool card. And I will tell you that I've got several different decks, and each deck has its own personality, its own flavor. So the Fool card doesn't always mean exactly the same thing. It might have a little bit of a different tint or a little bit of a different slant when you're using different decks. One of the reasons I like to use different decks is because you can get messages that are slightly different with each deck, and there are different ways that the client needs to hear the message. So there's all of that. I could do a whole lesson on that, but I'm not going to. So I want to start off by examining basically the industry standard Fool card. This would be a traditional Rider-Waite Fool card. So when you're looking at this card, you see this person who probably is a man, but doesn't have to be. That haircut could be a unisex haircut there. And this person is getting ready to come off the edge of a cliff. He's not even really looking where he's going. It looks like his dog may be trying to warn him, or the dog may be excited about the prospect. Kind of depends what you feel like as you're looking at this card, how the dog is behaving. He's carrying his bag with him. He's traveling very lightly, and he's got the sun shining on him at his back. And what's in the background, I think what's in the background is cold, icy mountains. So for me, the Fool card is a card that talks about taking a leap of faith, walking off the edge of the cliff, expecting that things are going to be okay, not expecting that you're going to fall down the cliff and take a tumble, take an L here. So there are a lot of nuances to this card. I am not going to go through all the nuances here. There are books that talk about every single detail on the Rider-Waite card, every single color, all the flowers on the clothes, everything has a meaning. But I'm looking at the main overall meanings with you guys. And also, when you're reading the cards psychically, sometimes the main overall meanings really don't mean anything. And sometimes they're kind of the base layer that you're adding your psychic intuition on top of. So you may want to watch a video that I did talking about a beginner's guide to reading the tarot cards to complement this. Okay? So for me, the Fool talks about this leap of faith, going off into something totally brand new, not knowing that much about what the next step is going to be like or where the next step is going to take them. But for me, the Fool card talks about a person who is doing something because they just know that they know that they know that they know that it's the right thing to do, and they know that it'll work out without knowing all the details or how everything is going to fill in. So to me, this is a very exciting card because it begins something new, and also because it relies a lot on sacred spirit and that intuitive gut knowledge that we have. And I always say that when you have this card, then this is sacred spirit giving you that thing, that nudge that you're paying attention to that makes you know what you know what you know. And then once you honor that nudge, then sacred spirit takes notice and says, look, they're having faith. Now we have to honor that faith. We're morally obligated because they honored the nudge we sent them. We're obligated to make sure that we keep them afloat here. So I feel like as long as you stay tapped in, tuned in to that inner knowing, that inner nudge, everything works out fine with this. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but then in retrospect, you look back and you go, yeah, that was actually perfect. So, leap of faith. For me, this is a leap of faith. Now, some people will say the Fool card does talk about acting foolishly or acting in a foolhardy way. I actually have another card that talks about that for me. I very rarely see the Fool as somebody acting the fool. Although I think maybe one time in a reading this card came in for that, and it was this card from this deck. Now, let's look at some of the other Fool cards. This card is actually from the deck that I learned the tarot on, and so this card is from the Wildwood Tarot. And I've always loved this deck. It looks at things from more of a Celtic, possibly Druid perspective. But if you look here in this particular deck, what we have that we didn't have before is we have the beauty of a lot of water showing up here. To me, water talks about happiness. We've got trees that talk about stability, but we've got all this ambiguous space in between the happiness and the stability. And this person also could be a boy or a girl. Notice how she has a braid and she has short hair. And she is looking where she's going. She's not looking off in the sky like our first card. Also, this is a different name completely, the Wanderer. You know, decks have different personalities based on their creators. And so this one, you know, you can see she's almost got like this rainbow sort of showing up where she's about to put her foot down. So she's taking that leap of faith. She's about to take that first step off of the cliff onto the rainbow. Now this looks like a little bit of an arc to it, so you could even call this a rainbow bridge. So in this particular deck, for me, this could talk about somebody getting ready to cross the rainbow bridge or somebody crossing the rainbow bridge. So this could be talking about somebody preparing to leave their body and start their whole new life. Remember, the Fool is about new beginnings. Start their whole new life in spirit realm. That's one of the implications of this card in this particular deck. Remember, I said we have different flavors in different decks. Okay? So I love the artwork. I actually collect cards and choose cards based a lot on their artwork, and then you get to know the character and personality of the cards after you've got them. So this is the first deck that ever called to me, and the first deck I bought and brought home. It's also, it still calls to me all these years later. So if we're not talking about crossing the rainbow bridge, which in most cases I haven't been, I think that's only actually come up once in a actual reading, then what we're talking about is that spirit assistance from the spirit realm that's across the rainbow bridge to help get this person across all this mysterious, confusing, ambiguous energy to get to their happiness and their stability. So that's a different flavor that I pull off of that card, it's a much more spiritual, relying on spirit, heavily focused on relying on spirit for that particular card. Now this is from my Shadowscapes Tarot deck. This is the Fool. I really like this. I like the Shadowscapes deck. I think the artwork is beautiful. There's a lot hidden in it. If you could blow this up, you could see a lot more. It's watercolor and it's just gorgeous. And you can see she's not really taking a step here. She's standing on the edge. She's all dressed up. She's anticipating. She's ready. Look how high those heels are on those feet. The dog doesn't really seem to be all that worried about her. They're just kind of hanging out on the edge at that point. But look around. See what she's got there? All those ribbons wrapping around her with the birds. I'm not sure how well you can see that. It's almost like Spirit has her back. Spirit's got the backup plan. Spirit's got the ribbons harnessing around her so that when she does make that step, those birds are going to help carry her across. And I see the birds as spirit. Those are white birds. They talk about spirituality and purity. Purity of intention, purity of heart. So this is definitely, Spirit has her back. Even her dog is calm with this. The dog knows this is all about Spirit. They've got this. He's looking up like, oh, you're going to have a good adventure, Mama. That's how I see that card. Now, this has a little different take on this. This is my Alchemist Tarot. I'm not even sure I remember the name of this deck. Hang on. Do I have the explanation book? The Chrysalis. This is the Chrysalis Tarot. C-H-R-Y, Chrysalis. And so here, our Fool isn't even called the Fool. He's called Merlin. And even in the sub name, he's called the Hero. Well, our Fool is actually the hero of the major arcana. He's the one that's walking through all the experiences of the major arcana. So that kind of makes sense. Now the Merlin is somebody who has already learned a lot. They can do alchemy. So this basically implies that, you know, this is still the Fool. He's still the hero. He's still our protagonist in our story as we go through the major arcana, and he's starting something new. But this does not imply from infancy something new. This applies that he's completed a cycle of learning and a cycle of wisdom, and that he is starting off on something new with all the information he needs and all the tools that he needs to start this new thing. And so I like this card because it reminds us that we have everything that we need to do whatever is in front of us. And actually, if you think about it, even as babies, we have everything that we need to do when we come forth into this world to move forward. You know, we can cry to communicate that we need some kind of attention, whether it's a diaper change or food or whatever. You know, and this Merlin, this hero, just tells us that, reminds us that yes, we may be starting on something new, but it's not going to be anything that we can't handle. It's not going to be anything that we can't master and that we can't do well. Okay. So that's that version of the Fool. Whole different flavor. It's just a more empowering reminder that, you know, it's not just that we're taking a leap of faith, but we actually already have the tools in our hands as we're taking that leap of faith. Now, this is my Fool from the Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg. Now, I see him still as somebody taking a leap of faith. I also see him as somebody who tries to bring humor into other people's lives. He's somebody who tries to keep everybody smiling, tries to keep everybody laughing. I don't see that so much in some of the other Fool cards. Here he very much has the image of court jester with his puppet on his hand. And I'm not sure if that's a rattle or what that is with a ribbon coming off the end of it. He's got other tools hanging off of his belt to make people laugh. So this is somebody, I don't see them as foolish, but I see them as they actually use laughter and humor as a means of getting people to go along with them and getting people to feel better. They could even be somebody who's some kind of healer that uses like laughter. We know laughter is the best medicine. Even science is catching up and figuring that out. This could be somebody who is very literally a comedian. And it still does talk about a new start. Somebody that is off on a new start and they're using humor to help them as they're making this new start. This is a part of their personal type of alchemy. Okay? The next card I'm using is from Tarot Marchetti's Tarot Grand Lux. We can see we've got the word the Fool there, 0 at the top. This is a very colorful card. I really like the artwork on this deck. It's fantastic. You can see a little bit more of the historical meaning of the Fool here. In the bottom third of the card, there's this scene where this person is basically fleeing a city. The dog is right behind him, maybe even nipping at his heels. This is somebody who is running away from conforming to the world or conforming to what everybody else wants from him. This is somebody who is acting in a way that is outside the box. And a lot of times when we take a leap of faith, that's exactly what we're doing. We're doing something that other people wouldn't expect, wouldn't think of, wouldn't expect to work. And so this person is running away from the city, running away from the people, running away from the traditions, running away from the culture. Maybe he's not actually literally exiting the culture. Maybe he's surviving quite well within the culture, but he's definitely doing his own thing. And in this deck, you can see that he's very secure in doing his own thing with having that staff. He's got support, and I feel like this is support within himself. He's counting on himself. He's not counting on anybody else to necessarily endorse what he's doing, or maybe even accept what he's doing. But he knows that he can support himself. He's got this. And then you can see the different things that are hanging from his hat. I'm sure there's a name for that hat, but I don't know what it is. There's a cup, there's a knife. There are symbols of every single suit, which once again reminds us that we have everything we need to perform alchemy in our own lives as we begin our new thing, where we're thinking outside the box. All right, next is my full card from a deck called the Good Tarot. It has a big glare. I'm trying to get away from that. Let's see if I can, for the most part. Very glossy cards, can you tell? So this card, what always stands out to me is the horn. And also the wreath on top of this. I'm not sure if she's an angel or a pixie or a fairy or what she is. But she's got this horn that she's blowing. She's got this wreath on her head. She's somebody who has accomplished something already. And as she's accomplished something, she's starting something new. But with her, with this horn, she's making this big announcement with this horn. I feel like she calls other people in to help her. She calls other people in to join her as she starts something new. Now this would be talking more about somebody who is perhaps an activist or somebody who is trying to put together a community of like-minded people. She's calling the like-minded people together to join her in whatever this new endeavor is that she's doing. Maybe she's interviewing for employees for a new company. You know, maybe she's putting together a team to do who knows. Maybe she's putting together a group of people to go on a vacation together. But she's definitely got that call going with the horn. She's already somebody who has accomplished some things. She's successful already in her own right. And now she's doing something new. Maybe she doesn't have the success in this new area, but she has the skills that she's picked up from the old area as she starts this new thing. So that is important. And you can see some of the fireflies and things coming in as she's making that noise with her horn. This is somebody who's not keeping her leap of faith secret at all. She's asking other people to join her. Okay? So that's a different flavor for the Fool there. Now, I think we're going to end with that guy. Let's look at this one first. So here, we have the Fool again, getting ready to step off of the cliff. Very similar situation to what we had in the first card, actually, the Rider-Waite. Small bag over his shoulder on a stick. And he's also carrying elderberry in his other. So he's got his companion with him, who is looking at him like, do you know what we're doing? Are you sure it's okay to step off of here? But he's also got elderberry in his hand. This tells me that he's prepared. He's prepared. He may even be starting off on a new journey of some kind of healing. Possibly physical healing, possibly emotional healing. And it may be that he's not really starting off on a new journey of healing, but he knows that there might be some scrapes and bruises along the way, so he's bringing that elderberry with him as a precaution. This one to me is really all about that preparation. Taking a leap of faith, but not taking it without making some kind of preparation, not being rash about that leap of faith. Knowing that just because it's a leap of faith doesn't mean it's always going to be easy. But also knowing that, okay, well, I've got the answers, I've got the supplies I need, I've got what I need, the very basics at least of what I need to make it through no matter what. All right. And then the last one I have is from a whimsical deck that I got. I don't remember the name of this deck. This is what the back of the card looks like. I got it at Barnes & Noble, and I think they still have them there. Last time I checked, they did. And the name of the deck isn't even on the box. I think when you go to their website, you can see the name of the deck. I just don't remember what it is. Anyway, this is our 0 card. This is the Fool card. It is a little bit more whimsical. And you can see the man is riding a cat. I'm not sure if that's a lion or what that's supposed to be. There's not a lot of extra hair. Maybe it's a house cat. Maybe it's just a child riding a house cat. Why not? Because 0 does talk about that infancy, that very beginning of life. So more whimsical. Animal definitely in play here. Also look at the birds. Those are bluebirds. Bluebirds esoterically symbolize, among other things, royalty. And so this could be somebody starting off on a journey along with his friends and just knowing that it's right, to the point that he has so much confidence it would be as if he was a royal persona, knowing that whatever he says people are going to obey and listen to. So that much confidence as he's starting off on his journey. So I believe in this Fool card, you're talking about somebody who is starting off on something that they have a nice support group around them on this. Even if it is a leap of faith, that the people around him may not understand necessarily what he's doing, but they're going to say, if it makes you happy, then I'm happy for you. Is there anything I can do? Okay. So that's just an example. I mean, there's lots and lots of decks out there. I just happen to have 9 on my table. But that gives you an example of different things that can be seen in the Fool card and different ways that it can be read. It doesn't have to always be read in the same way. And that's all for the Fool upright. So let's go back through and let's look at reversed. I think we're probably going to move through this a lot more quickly. Now for me, the Fool reversed. Well, first of all, you have to know about me that I do reversals differently than a lot of people. There's different ways to read them. I'm not going to talk about what a lot of people do. So I have an agreement with Sacred Spirit that if a card comes in reverse It's not the same as right side up. There's something different, and it could be just a little bit different, or it could be completely 180 out different, anywhere in there. And it's my job to psychically figure out, what is that difference? Is it a big difference? Is it a little difference? What is that difference? So, you know, just like the upright cards can mean something different every time you look at them based on looking at them psychically, which, you know, for that, if you haven't already, check out my video, The Beginner's Guide. I talked about that earlier. Reversals are the same way. They can be different every time you read them as well. So for me, in general, the Fool card in reverse usually means, for me, that somebody has taken a journey of faith, a leap of faith, and it's not really new anymore, okay? And so this, for me, is somebody looking at that leap of faith, looking at how far they've come, looking at what they've accomplished so far with it, and deciding, thinking about, considering, analyzing whether it's time to put down this activity or this thing that they started, deciding whether it's served its purpose or whether it's beneficial to keep going with it. Now for me, when the Fool card comes in reverse, what that usually means is that person has gone through this whole process of analyzing, thinking this over, and they have made their decision that this leap of faith that they started is one that they want to continue forward with. They think there's going to be more benefit to continuing forward with it, that it may have served some purpose already, but they're expecting that it'll serve more purpose. And so they keep going with that leap of faith. They're not abandoning that. Okay? And really, that's pretty much, for me, that's pretty much the same, just with a little bit of different flavor, different tone for every single deck. It's pretty much just, we've decided, we've thought about this, we're going to keep going with that leap of faith. So all of these pretty much mean the same thing for me in reverse. Now, I say that with the caveat that I go a lot based on feelings. So if I'm doing a reading, then I might feel something a little bit different. But that's my basic meaning. Okay? In this case, like sometimes I'll see the reversals as whatever's in the person's hands as falling out of their hands. Maybe this person is continuing to move forward with their leap of faith, but not using humor so much. Now they are wanting to look at things in a more serious way. You know? For this could be somebody moving forward with their leap of faith, but maybe they're going back into the community and back into culture and being closer, spending more time interacting with people who don't really understand what they're doing. That can be a challenge, but that could be something that would come up here. So once again, continuing on. Continuing on. Maybe there was a little bit of trouble here with getting all the support, all the people to come in with her on this leap of faith. This can be continuing on to bring those people in, to call those people in, to decide it's not a good time to give up on this, that it hasn't served its purpose yet, we're not finished. And this one, just once again, continuing to move forward. And same thing with this one. Continuing to move forward. Maybe now in this one the bluebirds have flown away. Maybe this person is not as confident anymore as they were in this leap of faith, but they still want to move forward with it because it came in reverse. Okay? So I hope that gives you guys some ideas and some clues as you're looking for information, as you're beginning your Fool's journey on understanding the tarot. You know, the key to take away from this is that it really is all about intuition. It's all about what strikes you. No matter what deck you use, every deck is just as good as the next one. What makes a reading good is the reader. and how much they focus in on the messages that are coming in. So you're the decider. You get to decide if you give good readings or not so good readings. It's not about your ducks. If you guys feel like your ducks are betraying you, no, you just need to get to know them better. It's not about the ducks. The ducks are all good. They're all good. They all do exactly what they're supposed to. Now, some ducks will have different, well, they all have different personalities than each other. Some ducks will come across kind of meaner. Some ducks, their personality may not mesh so much with your personality, and that's okay. Because sometimes ducks do come to us just for us to find their true homes. I've seen that many times. I've given away probably as many ducks as I have here on the table today in the time that I've been reading. So, you know, sometimes that's just the way it works. We can get a duck that we don't mesh with and realize, oh, you know what? You know who would really enjoy this duck? My friend that I see every once in a while. I'm going to save this and give this to her. All right, so that's it about the Fool. Let me wrap this up and I'll put it online and hope that it will help you.